Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is Friday, May 24th, 2024. One of the top stories this evening. The latest distraction. Travis Kelce responds to Harrison Butker's commencement speech. And of course, this has been a big focus for over a week now. What Harrison Butker said at a Catholic school's graduation ceremony, just, expressing traditional values that, yeah, some people don't like. But again, why does that need to be a national controversy? I mean, how many more important things are there for the news media to have people actually thinking about? As we have been explaining, though, it was no accident that Harrison Butker did that at a Catholic university 95 days after winning the Super Bowl on the 95th birthday of the Vatican. And of course, the big man in focus has been Travis Kelce, number 87, while the Pope's 87 years old. We're going to talk about why he's responding to this very Catholic controversy on the 145th day of the leap year when there's 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament, and how it also goes back to a pattern we talked about all year with the 104th NFL season. And just to cut to the chase on that one, again, notice from the date of the Super Bowl, February 11th, to today is a span of 104 days. The Chiefs won Super Bowl 58, which concluded the 104th NFL season. Super Bowl 58 ended the 104th season. Go back to the 2018 Kansas City Royals season, the baseball team there. Of course, Patrick Mahomes' father played in Major League Baseball, and Mahomes is also a baseball player. But the Royals that year, their record was 58 and 104, the same year that Mahomes became the starter for the Chiefs. And then he has this huge ritual in Super Bowl 58, the 104th NFL season. Let's not forget he does the State Farm ads either, and State Farm equals 103 in Gematria, and he won the 103rd NFL season, Super Bowl 57 in State Farm Stadium. Came into that game 10-3 in the playoffs. But yeah, last year, the 104th season, it was synced up with Taylor Allison Swift, Taylor Swift's full name the whole way, which in Gematria equates to 104. And from today, the day of him responding to the start of the next season, Chiefs versus Baltimore. That game's on 9-5. Baltimore equals 95. The Chiefs are 8-5 versus Baltimore right now. Baltimore fell to 5-8 versus the Chiefs all time right before Super Bowl 58. As Andy Reid stayed on 58 losses with the Chiefs winning it all. But it's 104 days to the season opener on 9-5, and the Chiefs will have a chance to become 9-5 versus Baltimore in that game, just like how they won on the Vatican's 95th birthday. And again, Baltimore, very Catholic city. But yes, notice also today leaves 221 days left in the year. The small weight, Taylor Allison Swift, is 104. The big weight, it's 221. So what a perfect day as the boyfriend of Taylor Allison Swift with rumors of marriage for him to have a response back. And again, I'm not going to get caught up in the whole controversy and what they're saying. The point that I'm making is why these guys become the headlines, that become the storylines, that become the things people are talking about, and how you can see that society is literally being programmed. There's literally a code, a numerical code to the propaganda they put out that keeps people talking about the things that apparently they want them talking about. They don't want us talking about how much we're paying in taxes and how many wars we've had to pay for in our lifetime and how much debt we have and how much more expensive things have become. And again, they just want, I mean, it's crazy. People are going to go vote in November, and what are the topics they're being given to choose from between right now? I mean, like, what are the things over? Do you want to vote for the old guy who's about to die, who's really having a lot of time, even with the teleprompter? Do you want to vote for the guy who went with the Switzerland plan in 2020 and brought in the banker tyranny and the lockdowns and printed all the money, which has no doubt led a ton to the inflation? And that same character now wants to just point at Biden, which is a total joke. Again, it's a two-party. But these are the things people aren't talking about. But, and yeah, again, in the mainstream, you're voting between the guy who's about to die seemingly and the one guy that you might not like for one of many reasons, like him being a proud pussy grabber or any of the others. But, and again, you guys, for someone's like, well, what's wrong with the proud pussy grabber? Again, did you guys ever hear what he said to Billy Bush on the bus? That, like, again, if you're down with that, that's not good to have that kind of attitude. His attitude was like, I don't care if a woman's married. If I want her, I'm going for her. So like he'll just like violate, the sanctity of someone's marriage. I mean, this is a bad guy. And remember, mega is the highest degree of the Church of Satan. But anyway, these are all the things people aren't talking about. Instead, they're talking about the tabloid stuff. Literally a trial for Donald Trump. The huge distraction and the lead witness was a guy who writes for a tabloid. Anyway. Yeah, so I suppose I hit the majority of the main points here with Travis Kelce's very by the numbers response. Again, we're on a Catholic calendar. All roads lead to Rome. Vatican's birthday. 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament. Travis Kelce responding on the 145th day of the year. As we pointed out many a times, Roman Catholic Church also has that 104. Again, the controversies with a Catholic football player. Harrison Butker, the football player, he's the kicker for the team. Again, all the football players bent over in tight pants, tight end. In Gematria, tight end equals 87 for the record. Like not only does Travis Kelce wear 87, like so many tight ends do. Again, a lot of tight ends wear 87. And then you realize in Gematria, tight end equals 87. You're like, oh, that's interesting. The Catholic Church equals 87. Priests with little boys with tight ends. Again, Travis Kelce, this perfect Catholic ritual, number 87 on this day, while the Pope's 87 years old. Again, the first Jesuit Pope and the founder of the Jesuits, Ignatius of Loyola, his name equals 87, just like the Catholic Church equals 87. Playing on Sundays. The shape of the ball looks like it is the Vesica Piscis, the same shape you see in the Bible around Jesus, which is the shape of a fish's body. The shape of, or the symbol of Pisces is the fish. We're in the age of Pisces. Jesus is the spiritual story for the age. So, okay, yeah, those are the main points on the Travis Kelce story. Remember the other year when, here, I'll tell you one more thing about 145 for all the football buffs out there. Jake Butt, the Michigan tight end. Jake Butt, the Michigan tight end. You remember this one, right? Go back and tell me where I'm wrong about any of these things. He was projected to go in the first round. Right before the draft, his coach Harbaugh shakes hands with the Pope over at Vatican land. And then Jake Butt falls all the way to the 145th pick of the draft. And then what day did Jake Butt's NFL career get ended? On September 27th. Supposedly an injury at practice, if I'm not mistaken. But that's the big Jesuit day, the day the Jesuits are recognized by the Roman Catholic Church to stop the 95 Theses and Martin Luther. They were recognized on September 27th, the day leaving 95 days left in the year. Again, the Chiefs just won the first ever Super Bowl that ever fell on the Vatican's birthday, February 11th, and it just happened to be the Vatican's 95th birthday. And they advanced through Baltimore, the 95 city, in the AFC Championship to get there. And again, now they're going to face Baltimore on 9/5, 104 days after this ritual. Again, you could only pick this one date to have the 104 both ways. Okay. The other piece. Oh, yeah. I almost forgot this piece right here. This part's big. From Travis Kelce's birthday. Travis Kelce's birthday is the day leaving 87 days left in the year. October 5th, there's 87 days that come after it. But from his birthday to today's ritual, 233rd day of his age, which is the 51st prime number. 233 is the 51st prime number and the 13th Fibonacci number. Again, there was a big focus on how much Taylor Swift likes the number 13. KC has that Gematria 13, like what's on the Chiefs helmets. But notice, Taylor Swift 51. And you might recall the Grammys. She had the big ritual with winning at the Grammys big time. And then Toby Keith died the next day, who discovered her. And Killer Mike got arrested. And we were pointing out how it was the 66th Grammys. And you can see Taylor Swift 66. In reverse, forwards, it's 51. You might recall Earl Cureton from Detroit, big music city, dropped dead that day. Killer Mike getting arrested. Taylor Swift winning big. 51-66. All of those people who all had, Taylor. Well, in a way, Killer Mike had a good day at the Grammys too before the arrest. Sour ending, no doubt scripted. All high ritual, but notice it was two black men who got the negative end or drew the shorter sticks, especially Earl Cureton, as Taylor Swift, goes big at the 66th Grammys. And that was the weekend before the Super Bowl. And that date could be written 4/2 like 42. And again, the Chiefs became 4-2 in Super Bowls, winning it on the 42nd day of the year. Missouri equals 42. Missouri is the 24th state. They won their 24th playoff game, and that date, February 4th, can also be written 2/4. Goes with Mahomes' 89th career win in the Super Bowl, the 24th prime. But yeah, so anyhow, even in this old article right here, it was pointing out the star took home the best pop vocal album for her album Midnights, besting Kelly Clarkson's Chemistry, Miley Cyrus' Endless Summer Vacation, Olivia Rodrigo's Guts, Ed Sheeran's Subtract, and as she accepted the award, her 13th Grammy, so she's getting big 13. Or don't forget, NFL has the Gematria 13. Super Bowl has the Gematria 41, which is the 13th prime number. It's like Kobe dead at age 41 the Sunday before the Super Bowl. His daughter dead at 13 in LA, the 41-13 city where Kobe Bryant's 41 as well. And he died on the 41st day of the Pope's age while traveling from Catholic Mass. Again, just how all these mega events could just all line up so perfectly, and then people to keep going, oh, I think it's still a coincidence, even though the calendar is named after the Pope and was given to us by a Jesuit priest, and these people are all connected to the language, and these concepts are thousands of years older than these things, which shows that they took the knowledge of ancestors and put it into this system that, again, is all based on these old occult ideas, Hermeticism, understanding vibrations, using vibrations to have influence, using language, using just everything, shapes, symbols, colors, all these things that it's like if there's a greater understanding to be had about all things, they have it and we don't. And they know how to use it to manipulate. They get everybody just like robots on the same thing. Every little girl just like listening to Taylor Swift like there was never another musician in the world. And sadly, I mean, they're living in a time where there's probably access to 1,000 times more talented musicians out there that just don't have any branding behind them or recognition because they're not born in the club and nobody heard of them. But they could find them if they weren't just so distracted with the thing being shoved down their throat all the time. Okay, so yeah, that's that story. Also buzzing right now. American missionary couple killed by gang in Haiti. Remember the recent assassination of the Haiti? We've covered so many tragic things with Haiti, but we're constantly coming back to the same thing: the Jesuits. And then with the last Haiti presidential assassination happened, I'd have to go back and double check. I want to say that the next president was installed on the 201st day of the year, old 201. Again, we're in the time of the first Jesuit Pope, Pope Francis, the first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican. But over and over with the 201 thing. And then the story today is, again, just like how they phrase it in all the news media: Davy and Natalie Lloyd, the missionaries killed in Haiti. And they were a place where just a boatload of guns were dropped on, or trucks full of armed men that just kill these two missionaries. Again, this is why the media needs to be looked at with a much closer lens, and people need to ask more questions about what's really going on. Were these missionaries really killed? I mean, that's possible. Is this a completely made up story just to create more of a perception about Haiti? And people need to look into Haiti and the country on the other side of it, where all the Major League Baseball players come from, that never seems to have any problems, even though they share the same island. I mean, that's like one of the weird things in the world that nobody really asked that much about. It's like, why is Haiti here? Well, again, let's look. The other place should be called MLB Island because, like, literally everyone in the major league is from there. But why is that place not having problems and Haiti is? Okay, so you see, this big border down the middle is the separation between Haiti and the Dominican Republic. And seriously, if you ever pay attention to Major League Baseball, like almost everybody's from the Dominican Republic. Of course, I'm being a little bit of an exaggerant, but not much. But still, I mean, they're the same island. You never like see the headline like Dominican Republic wasted with hurricane or earthquake. But God, Haiti just like gets blasted with everything. All kinds of chaos, weather chaos, earthquake chaos. It's like, but the Dominican Republican won't be a part of the story. It's like, how is just Haiti getting it? Like, Dominican Republic's on. Anyhow, you start to pay attention to the headlines, you'll start to see the same code over the headlines over and over too. It was a major Jesuit assassination ritual when the leader was killed, and then it was a major Jesuit installation ritual of the next president. And it doesn't just go on in Haiti, it goes on all over the world because the Jesuits are all over the world, because the Catholic Church is all over the world, because these people have been warned about all over the world for hundreds of years, which is why they had to go into suppression. At the same time, the Illuminati was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt on May 1st, 1776, in a big 201 ritual. And then he dies 201 days eventually in history after the anniversary of its establishment. But yeah, again, what are the odds? What are the odds? And they're saying they were killed on the 144th day of the year. Like we always point out, how 201 and 144 to come together. The Jesuit order 201, Jesuit order alone 144. When the Jesuits came out of suppression, it was 144 days after the sitting president's birthday, who was James Madison, the only president to have a 201 name, and on and on and on. But yeah, Davy and Natalie Lloyd. You know, one of the top stories today. And again, just about all of the agendas and just keeping people divided. Again, just like the racism that the media is always subtly programming. Again, Haiti is a predominantly black island, so people automatically think, oh, they got murdered by a bunch of black thugs, something like that, right? All kinds of people have an idea just like that. Oh my God. So I'll never vote for another Obama. I mean, this is the way people are. And it's all because of this programming. More people need to be like, yeah, what is up with Haiti and the Dominican Republic? Dominican Republic doesn't even have any problems. Just keep producing baseball players like crazy. Okay, I did the thing on Morgan Spurlock this morning, and I missed maybe the most important thing that I should have covered. Hold on. I missed maybe the most important thing. And it's sick. It's a dark comedy is what it is. But not only did I miss probably the most important thing to share, then I started thinking deeper about it, because I was waiting for what the big Donald Trump related story would be on May 23rd. I've been talking about this, Donald Trump's connection to 523. And then after I did the video, I was like, wait a minute, Donald Trump is Mr. McDonald's. He's been making headlines all over the place about McDonald's. Do you guys remember about a month back, maybe it was a month and a half ago now, Donald Trump was at a Chick-fil-A and it got all this. It was like the big news story that night, how Donald Trump interacted with people at Chick-fil-A and how much they liked him in Georgia. He was in town for the trial. And all these trial stories, they're talking about how Donald Trump's legal team just buys nothing but McDonald's. Look up these headlines in every state he goes to. But there's been so many stories about Trump and McDonald's and how much he loves McDonald's. And he took McDonald's to the East Palestine victims and told them that he knows the menu better than anyone. And he bought the McDonald's mega meal for the Clemson Tigers football team when they came to the White House on the anniversary of the death of Ray Kroc. If you remember that, back January 14, 2019. That was after Clemson beat Alabama. And if you go back and look, again, the year Ray Kroc died, the San Ysidro massacre happened that year at a McDonald's, 187 days from his death on 18/7. And, of course, Trump had his convention start that day in 2016 in Cleveland. He's trying to become the nation's second Grover Cleveland. That's another related topic, but indirectly. But, yeah, the year that Ray Kroc died, he owned the San Diego Padres. They won that World Series that year. That was the 81st World Series. Ray Kroc died at age 81. From the San Ysidro Massacre to that World Series was 81 days later. And then what's funny is that was 1984 when Ronald Reagan, who ran on Mega, was president of the United States. And if you look, Ronald Reagan in his national record ate at McDonald's one time as like a publicity stunt. And he did it in 1984, the year Ray Kroc died. And he did it one day after the Padres won the World Series. One day after the Padres won the World Series. I mean, come on. That was Ray Kroc's team that he owned. Died at 81. And think about the 81. You know where I'm going to go with the 81 next, right? Because again, in Gematria, both President Trump and President Biden equal 81. And remember, Biden supposedly got a record 81 million votes after Obama endorsed 81 candidates on August 1st, 8-1. And Biden's from Scranton, Pennsylvania, which is on Interstate 81. Ritual equals 81. So yeah, we're going to go into this deeper, but I'm also going to hit you with the thing that here, I'm just going to do it right now because I should have had this earlier. If you missed the earlier stream, you can go back and check it out, but this is what was not in there. Okay. We've talked about 158 and McDonald's and Burger King and Freemasonry about 1 million times over the years. This is something that blew my mind like at the end of 2016. Probably the first time I noticed this was probably the very end of 2016 or the start of 2017, somewhere around there. But it blew my mind when I saw how Freemasonry, McDonald's, and Burger King all equaled the same thing. And what's hilarious is since we made that discovery in more recent years, if you go to get your food handler's permit, like the last time I took a food handler's test was probably in my early 20s, maybe another time since then I forgot, but we probably all had to take a food handler's test at some point. Maybe you haven't, but it's likely you have. The answer for how high you used to have to cook a hamburger. Oh, shit. I forgot to. Oh, my God. I'm missing the most important screenshot that's supposed to be up there. How did I do that? Okay. Look at this, you guys. Not only does McDonald's, Burger King, and Freemasonry equal 158, in that same cipher, look at this. I don't know how I forgot to put it in there. Hamburgers. Hamburgers equals 158, okay? So this is now the answer. It used to be 160 degrees. Like until just recently, the answer was 160 degrees is how high you got to cook the temperature. But they changed it in recent years to 158. So now the right answer is 158 degrees. You must cook hamburgers to 158 degrees. I mean, come on. And yeah, in Gematria, hamburgers equals 158. And this is the point. Again, Freemasonry is based in Kabbalah. Freemasonry, modern Freemasonry is a Jesuit creation. The Jesuits are very biblical. With regards to the Jesuits, that's what my brain was like. What was the thing you want to say about the Jesuits? The Jesuits' birthday, if you look up what day the Jesuits were created in history, they were created on the 15th day of the 8th month, the 15th of August, as they'd write it over in Europe, in Paris, France. And yeah, you go over to London where. Sorry, I'm trying to do two things at once. You go to London where Boris Johnson replaced Theresa May. Again, Boris Johnson's name is 158. Replaced her exactly 158 weeks after she took office. Theresa May and Margaret Thatcher are the only women to be prime minister in the UK. They both have the MTTM initials. M plus T is 13 plus 20, 33. Getting the highest degree of the Scottish Rite, 33. London divided into 33 neighborhood areas. You think about this nation's capital, Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is the, again, known as the Masonic City, but it's where the Jesuits set up camp when they came to the United States. So, yeah, this Morgan Spurlock thing, the 158, again, it connects to hamburgers, Burger King, McDonald's, Freemasonry, right? Pope Francis, the first publicly Jesuit pope. And again, it's funny when you start to really look at all this because within Catholicism, you are not supposed to be a Freemason. So this is part of like, if you're going to be of the Catholic faith, you are not supposed to be a Freemason in good faith. But this order of the church is responsible for modern Freemasonry. And what's funny is in Gematria the Small Way, Freemasonry equals 58 and 59, just like Pope Francis, who became a Jesuit in 1958, and Benedict stepped down on the 59th day of the year for him. And of course, Benedict was a German who died at the reflection of 5995 when Martin Luther was a German who wrote the 95 Theses. But yeah, Morgan Spurlock died 158 days after the Pope's birthday. 158 days after the Pope's birthday, the guy who made the Hamburgers documentary going after McDonald's, and notice documentaries 158 as well. He made the Hamburgers documentary about eating McDonald's every day and how sick he got and how bad it was for his bodily functions per the medical testing system that we have here in the U.S. If you've never seen the movie Super Size Me, it was a big smash documentary that probably Yeah, like how often have you ever heard of people going out to see a documentary at well, people don't even go out to the movies anymore, but back in 2004, people still went out to movies. Netflix, I think about when I first got Netflix. I first got Netflix in 2008. I remember it. I remember the girl I was dating at the time, and it was her idea. And but yeah, it was 2008. That's when I know it was out before that. It wasn't brand new in 2008, but a lot of people didn't have it back then. And I think I think I had it like before some of my friends had it. So not anyway. This movie, Super Size Me. A lot of people went out to the movie theater to see this actual documentary. And the only other documentary I can think about like that got like kind of like viral attention and people went out to see were the Michael Moore ones, Fahrenheit 9/11 and maybe it was just that one. Maybe that was one the people went out and saw. But two totally different types of movies, but just documentary category, and people actually went to the theater to see them. Okay, so here, just to take this from the top and get down to the larger Donald Trump point. Again, there is something called Satanic Gematria. It's actually a really clever cipher. Instead of A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, it starts at A is 36, B is 37, C is 38, D is 39, just counting up from there. Z ends up being 61. And if you write out Satanic Gematria in that cipher, it equals 666. And 666 is the 36th triangular number, which means if you add 1 through 36 together, it equals 666. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, all the way up to plus 36. And again, there's a number of interesting things we talked about, but we've seen rituals in the past with Donald Trump in 523. So this was something we caught on to years ago. So that's why I was just watching in this big election year with all this stuff going on. I said, there's going to be something about Trump in 523. And he is Mr. McDonald's. And again, I'm going to help really bring all this together, but let's just take it from the top and then we'll conclude there. Again, who are we saying is doing this? The evidence shows, again, based on where the language comes from, the calendar comes from, who has the power to do this, who set up camp in Washington, D.C., where the federal government moved its headquarters to, and then eventually moved inauguration day to the 201st day of the year, when the only gang you can find in the world that 201 means anything to is the Jesuits. And we're in the time of the first Jesuit Pope, who's the first to live in Suite 201. I just call this, looking at evidence and being logical and realizing that, yeah, we are being manipulated and something is going on. And there are a lot of number rituals and you have to be blind not to see them. But anyway, notice the news broke today, the day after his death. We didn't get this news yesterday, the day he reportedly died. We get it today. And again, it's the 195th day of the leader of the Jesuits' age, the Superior General, Morgan Spurlock, 195. Now we're going to get to the Ray Kroc piece, the man who made McDonald's. His full name is Raymond Albert Kroc, 195. Okay. I got something. Unless you already read my post today, I got new information ahead on Ray Kroc's death and Donald Trump. Donald Trump, man. It's just, you guys, it's undeniable what's coming up. I'm sorry. Let me just get to the point and stop babbling. He actually died the day before, which would have been the Superior General's 194th day of his age. You could also say 193 days after the Superior General's birthday, which is the 44th prime number. Again, if you missed the earlier video, we talked about why they did the ritual with Obama on this same day at the Kenya White House dinner, where Biden joked that Obama was from Africa, which was what Donald Trump accused Obama of in the birther conspiracy. Birther has that gematria 44. But anyway, with regards to Morgan Spurlock, they're saying he died from cancer 193 days after the Superior General's birthday. Again, the 44th prime. Cancer equals 44, like chemo, like kill. The name Ray is also 44, as in Ray Kroc. Ray Kroc, the small way, is also 44. His death was perfectly synced with the massacre at San Ysidro, just outside of San Diego. The shooting has that 44. Shows up in a lot of mass shooting stories. And I wrote a book about that, Letters and Numbers, that came out at the start of 2017. And again, Ray Kroc's death and the San Ysidro massacre, all that's in there. The year that Super Size Me came out is the year that The Apprentice debuted. So we'll get to that. That's interesting. 20 years ago, death has the gematria of 20, like time, like cross, like seasons. All of those things equal 20 in the same cipher. The alphabetic order with numerology. Death, time, cross, seasons. T, the first letter in time, which is also a lowercase t, looks like a cross. Without numerology, T is the 20th letter. And again, Catholic, cross, death, time. The Catholic Church began as what's described as pagan, non-Christian, worshiping the sun in the sky. And the cross to pagan cultures is the 4 seasons. The 4 seasons with the sun in the middle that dictates. There's a lot. If you want to read the post, there's more information here. Actually, one thing that's important that I missed this morning. Shout out to Atachi who caught this. This in his write up, it says the fraternity that he's a member of, and unless Wikipedia is fudging the numbers, but the Wikipedia for his fraternity says there's 144 active sites for that fraternity right now, and he died on the 144th day of the year. I mean, as we know, Jesuit Order 144, huge number that we talk about all the time. The United States of America equals 144, and so does the word corporation. And we're talking about, well, we got to look at what the all-time ranked biggest corporations are. We know McDonald's is right up there at the top of the list. That there might be a little bit bigger ones than McDonald's, but man, McDonald's is up there. Corporations that are worldwide, that are American, yeah, McDonald's is up there. And McDonald's is, you know what's sad is since this movie came out, you know, the U.S. population has been supersized. People were starting to get fatter back then, but now it's like, damn, everybody is literally supersized. Actually, sorry, that's a false use of literally. It's not everybody, but it's a lot. I actually have a pet peeve when people use literally the wrong way, and I just did right there. So I will correct that in real time. Yeah, his fraternity is Phi Gamma Delta, and per the Wikipedia, 144 active chapters. Died on May 23rd, the 144th day of the leap year. Again, all the 158s, hamburgers, Burger King, McDonald's, Freemasonry, the Jesuits' birthday, 15/8. Trump lost his brother the other year on 15/8. Afghanistan lost their government the other year on 15/8. We lost the gold standard many years ago in connection to 15/8, and just so much on that date. That date's always huge, but the CIA overthrew Iran's government August 15th. Back in 1953. Anyhow, again, 158 days after the Pope's birthday. So the death perfectly synced with the Pope. You know, in light of the news coming today, today's 159 days later. And of course, Donald Trump equals 159. Donald Trump, May 24th, 2017, was at the Vatican with the Pope. Again, Jesuit educated Trump. First Jesuit Pope, Pope Francis. Ray Kroc, born October 5th, 1902, dead January 4th, 1984. Dead at 81. And again, the 81st World Series was won later that year by the team that he owned, the San Diego Padres, after the San Ysidro Massacre just outside of San Diego 81 days earlier. President Biden, President Trump, 81 million votes, supposedly the record in the election between the two, with Biden getting way more than Obama did. Even though, again, I'm living up here in Washington State, pretty liberal place. Usually you see a lot of Democrat bumper stickers, yard signs. I didn't see any for Biden in 2020. And I'm thinking, you got the record? I didn't even see that. I mean, I don't feel like there was record enthusiasm. The evidence was not here. I no doubt the record for least representation ever. But yeah, I think that's also symbolic of the times we live in and just how people will go along anyway. Jesuit Georgetown, 144 days before the election, the Transition Integrity Project. They did simulate the election, saying Biden would narrowly win, Trump would refuse to step down, and lead to a deadly altercation in America. Hello, January 6th. Georgetown was the first to board up. They wrote the script. The Apprentice. Again, the first degree of Freemasonry, The Apprentice. Freemasonry equals 58. Again, Donald Trump won the 58th U.S. presidential election after announcing from the 58-story Trump Tower. Notice how Freemasonry has the 58. McDonald's actually doesn't, but Burger King does. BK, that's the second letter, the 11th letter. B2, K11, add together 13. M's the 13th letter. Freemasonry uses 13 in some of their symbolism. Look into the House of the Temple and the 13 steps and the unfinished pyramid with 13 layers. This nation, founded by Masons with 13 stripes and 13 colonies. The Super Size Me name of the documentary, in light of this Trump parallel, Super Size Me is 60, just like Donald Trump's 60, like it's the 60th U.S. presidential election upcoming. Again, his wife, his ex-wife, died 45 years after their marriage, like he's number 45. She died 60 weeks into the first ever Jesuit Ignatian year. And again, then he buried her on the 201st day of the year. And we're going to make a parallel here with going back in time to the death of Ray Kroc, Mr. McDonald's, in 1984, and what that had to do with Donald Trump being 37 years old at the time, and why it matters that he died 214 days after Trump's birthday. It goes along with the joke of, on the Church of Satan's 45th birthday, the White House Correspondents' Dinner happening that day, April 30th, 2011, where, again, Obama joked that Trump would be number 45 after joking that he was born in Kenya. And again, that was 45 days before Trump's birthday on June 14th, which is the flag's birthday. But all this Trump McDonald's crap, again, feeding the Clemson team McDonald's after they beat Alabama, when the only time Ronald Reagan ever ate at McDonald's was in Alabama, the day after the World Series, won by the Padres, owned by Ray Kroc prior to his death that same year. Where did I put it at? Right here. So Donald Trump would have been 37 years old when Ray Kroc died. And again, these are these larger-than-life businessmen, right? And Donald Trump was starting to make his name in the 80s. You know, one tycoon dies, Ray Kroc. Here comes the next one, Donald Trump. It's like there's these kind of trade-offs all over. Like up in the city where I spent a lot of my adult life, Seattle, the 206 area code. Cobain dies 206 days before Bill Gates' birthday. Bill Gates becomes a celebrity in 94, the year that Cobain dies. Seattle, Washington, 94. Bill and Melinda married on the first day of 94. Kurt Cobain dead 94 days later. Then Bill's mom dies later in 1994. Then his father dies at age 94. And all the other 94s with Bill Gates. And being married to Melinda from a family of Jesuit priests who has that same August 15th birthday. And her middle name's French. Melinda French Gates, who just left the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation numbers in a perfect ritual. But she left it 94 days from her birthday. The Seahawks only Super Bowl season in the 94th, and just the 94th NFL season. Anyway, coming back to this. Trump was 37 when Ray Kroc died. Ray Kroc, 37. 214 days after his June 14th birthday did Ray Kroc die. He ends up feeding the Clemson team. By the way, Clemson Tigers is 60 as well in light of this 60th election upcoming. But yeah, Ray Kroc dies 214 days after his birthday. Look at the Gematria Church of Satan. 214. In the 80s, you had the Satanic Panic, which is 214. And, you know, that was made to make things look like they're really goofy. the whole satanic thing. But really, I think the satanic thing is just a lot of these people are right in front of you, and you don't realize that they're it. Like, think about how many Christians support Trump because they support the Republican Party, the same one that inverted its stars in 2000. And you know, to make a point about that, again, if people don't know that, look it up. It's true. In 2000, they changed the elephant with the stars on it. Before, the star didn't point downwards. It didn't have a downward point. If you look into it, the 5-pointed star, when it points downwards, is the symbol for the Church of Satan. And the Republican Party in 2000, you know, before Bush came into office, and that was the time they were putting out the Paul Walker movie, The Skulls, about Skull and Bones, like the Bushes are connected to. God, and somebody called into my sports stream today. Actually, was something I got to look into. They said one of the important nights in the history of the Templars in Jerusalem is actually related to the Bush family. So I got to research that if that's true. That's been a huge omission all these years. And anyway, all these things lead to Rome. The skull and bones gets their symbolism from the Templars, who are the old military order of the Catholic Church. That's why the Templar cross and the Jesuit order's logo. We've been talking about the Jesuits in 201. Again, the founder of the Church of Satan, Anton LaVey, died 201 days from his birthday, but also 201 days before the sitting Pope's upcoming birthday. And yeah, you just think about it. All these years later, then he's at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And Obama's joking in a perfect ritual on the Church of Satan's 45th birthday about him being number 45. And then he runs on Mega, which again is literally the highest degree of the Church of Satan. And if you look into Mega, it has to do with witchcraft. Do you remember when Trump was God, I don't know if he'd quite taken office yet, or maybe he just won election. There was a big story out of New York about this gathering of mass witches to cast spells against Donald Trump. Go back and look. But yeah, I was just looking at just how Donald Trump and witchcraft are too. Isn't that wild? Exact same gematria in 3 out of the 4 ciphers. I mean, isn't it? I mean, here, Trump witches. What happens if I just search these 2 words? 'Cause I remember this, they made it a big deal about one day. This Halloween, witches are casting spells to defeat Trump. Remember, Halloween is the day Halloween is the day in history that Martin Luther pinned the 95 Theses, and the word Halloween itself has gematria 95. And for the record, from Martin Luther pinning the 95 Theses to the nation's first, what did I just say? From Martin Luther pinning the 95 Theses to the foundation of the Jesuits, the creation of it, August 15th, 1534, is 201 months later. From the killing of Martin Luther King Jr. on the 95th day of 1968 to the nation's first major gun control legislation was 201 days later. 201, and a lot of these mass shooting stories where they try to undermine rights and liberties, Sandy Hook compared to Dune Blaine, exactly 201 months later. What the ritual they just did with Aaron Charles Rogers, Mr. 201, on the anniversary of the Dune Blaine massacre, the headlines about him being a Sandy Hook conspiracy theorist. Yeah, there's been multiple stories like this. This one's from the 56th day of the year. Go figure. Witches cast mass spell against Donald Trump, reporting on the 56th day of the year. Church of Satan equals 56, like Society of Jesus, like Pope. Lot of big rituals with 56. Coronavirus was like the ultimate 56. And that whole thing started in 2020, 56 years after Trump's Jesuit education. The witch hunt. They're always using that term now with Trump too. Trump's always saying a witch hunt. Witches casted spells. I mean, you guys, all of this stuff is part of the programming, and just I know there's been more headlines than this, though. I'm also trying to find something. Witches are trying to figure out whose spell was this gave Trump COVID-19. Oh my God. Oh my God. Spells and spelling. But yeah, again, people have to like rethink like what satanic actually looks like. Does it look like witches in green makeup from the Yellow Brick Road, or does it look like mega corporations that don't give a shit about your child's future, that just want them as little addicts so they can keep killing it in the financial ball game? They want a McDonald's on every corner next to a Starbucks, and they won't stop until they have it. They want to be the only person to serve all of the world food so they can make a dime off every tongue. No, I get sick just watching all this stuff go down, and people don't have a fucking clue, and they're worshiping this orange Oompa Loompa. By the way, look at what day, Ray Kroc decided to turn McDonald's into a franchise in 1954, the same year the Bilderberg Conference happened. You think that's an accident? Jesuit Order 54, the House of the Jesu, the Jesuit headquarters. It's actually the Church of the Jesu. But again, it's at Building 54, Cable 54, the enemy of the world, and They Live. They Live is actually a really great proof for the weirdness going on in Hollywood. Again, Roddy Piper, the star of Cable, or They Live, where the enemy of the world's Cable 54. That movie came out 201 days after his birthday. Then he tweets on September 27th, the big Jesuit day, that the movie's actually a documentary. And then he dies on the anniversary of the death of Ignatius Loyola, Mr. 201 himself, the founder of the Jesuits. So 54, the plan. And then by 56, they developed the model to also own the land. And notice McDonald's is a real estate company because they have really all like the best real estate almost everywhere. So, I mean, you think about what it really is, right? One of the top rules in real estate is location. It is the top rule. Location. And 50, and you just start to look at like the World Economic Forum run by the Jesuit Klaus Schwab, who did the whole event 201, and how they're partnered with the BlackRocks and the Vanguards of the world that are buying up all the real estate. And they're telling us we're going to own nothing and be happy. I mean, they really do have a plan like this, you guys, that like literally they're making a dime off everyone's mouth. Almost no one is self-sufficient. There could be a future where it's not that far off that McDonald's, Walmart, and Amazon and Columbia Pictures now own everything. The medical world, the media, the food delivery service. People look forward to going to the hospital for their latest ailment because they get a free Happy Meal. It's all they've ever needed since the cradle. Just another Happy Meal. One more Happy Meal. The last words of the average American by the year 2133. Man, you guys might remember the massive 275 slavery ritual they did with Ben Simmons getting traded from the 76ers the other year on the anniversary of Black History Month being recognized by the feds, which happened in the year 76 because slave equals 76. R.I.P. OJ. R.I.P. Carl Weathers. Gone at 76. Football players from the Bay where San Francisco's 76. Big Jesuit stronghold. Anyway, that number had 275 it was 275 all over it. So anyway, when Ronald Reagan ate at the McDonald's one day after San Diego won the World Series, perfectly synced with the San Diego McDonald's massacre, synced with the Ray Kroc death. Again, he owned the team. He ate there 275 days after Ray Kroc's death, and federal government equals 275. And I mean, how many times have we showed how it's just all rigged together? The sports, the politics, is perfect scripts. In real time, we've been doing this in the last decade, saying, okay, this is the news, this foreshadows this, and then boom, that happens many times, showing how all this stuff's connected. In 1984, when this stuff was going down, I was 1 year old. I would have turned 1 on July 21st, 1984. And we know it's been going on since way before any of our lifetimes. It's just, in a way, it still blows your mind. You're like, God, they've just been doing this the whole damn time. And to come back to Donald Trump, Mr. McDonald's, the big M, the 13, 13 Illuminati families. Remember, Donald Trump has that 48 in his name, just like Illuminati does. Illuminati's got that 48. So does Hollywood. He's a member of Hollywood like Ronald Reagan. The Church of Satan, for the record, is founded on the 120th day of the year. And from the debut of The Apprentice to Morgan Spurlock's Super Size Me coming out was 120 days later. But yeah, Donald Trump with the golden hair who loves to eat at the Golden Arches. The gold's the real money. Remember, they audited Fort Knox for the first time in forever on the day of the total American solar eclipse in 2017. The Skull and Bones member Steve Mnuchin did, modeled after pirates, like pirates steal the gold. But again, he did that on the day of the eclipse where you couldn't see the sun. And in alchemy, gold is the sun is gold. Donald Trump, the man with the golden house. How about the picture of Lincoln? The picture of Lincoln above him with this McDonald's thing. This is the shot right here from when he fed the Clemson Tigers. So again, just how again like Lincoln is thinking. Lincoln's thinking in that photo. Look at this. Super size me. 60, right? In that same cipher, Donald Trump. 60. It's the 60th U.S. presidential election. Again, the fatefulness of 60. 1860 election was Lincoln. He got assassinated. 1960 election was JFK. He got assassinated. Again, the first 10 years, the Jesuits were recognized by the Roman Catholic Church. The order had 60 members. So we're getting close to this 60th election. Since that photo, his ex-wife's fallen down the stairs and died 60 weeks into the Jesuit Ignatian year. There's been a whole bunch of 60 stuff with the whole Alvin Bragg trial. The whole Alvin Bragg trial is nothing but 60s, okay? The thing going on in New York. Alvin Bragg, 60. And just there's been so many 60s. I'm not doing it justice. But I'm looking at how the Super Size Me documentary winner's death on a day that's been connected to Trump over the years, 5/23, is really starting to make a lot of sense. And again, the more you just look at all this, it's like, the script, they've been putting the clues right before us. It's like when you watch a movie, right? Have you ever watched a movie and then you watch it the second time and you're blown away at all the things you pick up on that you just totally overlooked the first time through? Because you knew. Because now you already know. You're like, oh, now I know. So now I'm connecting all the dots. But yeah, all this stuff, man, is just again, you guys. They had a Kennedy get in the race, RFK Jr., whose father was assassinated in 68, 56 years ago. Shot on the 5th day of the 6th month was RFK, June 5th, 68, the anniversary of Ronald Reagan's death, isn't it? Isn't that the day Ronald Reagan died? The same day that RFK was shot? Hold up. Ronald Reagan, I know, equals 56, like Washington, D.C., like Society of Jesus. Wonder if he was a member of the Church of Satan, too. June 5th, yeah, the same day that RFK was shot. So, again, the point I'm making is you got this RFK Jr. in the race, who got in the race 144 days after the Superior General's birthday. Again, his father died at 1:44 a.m. after being shot. JFK died 144 days from meeting with the Pope. Lincoln was shot on 14/4. When you write out April 4th, it equals 144, like Jesuit order. The first president to die in office died on April 4th. MLK, of course, was assassinated on April 4th. JFK, before he died, lost his child, his infant child, on August 9th, the day leaving 144 days left in the year. Of course, Kennedy curses 144. They simulated that Biden would win 144 days before the election. He did. The November 5th election on the special Jesuit day, Guy Fawkes Day, the day they tried to blow up British Parliament, connected to political violence and chaos, is November 5th. That day is 144 days after Trump's birthday. So the question becomes, they're showing us all these little clues in the script. Where's the next big climax date? Okay. The hamburgers documentary McDonald's guy dead 158 days after the Pope. And the same people who I guess think everything's a coincidence day in and day out are going to be like, well, I mean, like it could be that a coincidence that they changed it to 158 degrees because maybe that really is just the actual right temperature. And sometimes the numbers and the words just add up and sometimes they just line up with the Pope every day. I mean, I don't know what they're, because it must be what the brain process sounds like to dismiss it all, right? These are all the things you'd have to be saying. I mean, yeah, it could just all, I don't know. Like, what else would it sound like? Doesn't sound right. I mean, if I'm saying that out loud, or even in my mind, I'm like, well, hey, maybe I'm not giving this enough of a chance. I mean, yeah, it is like every damn day. The Hamburglar. Oh my God, these characters that are in our mind. That doesn't even need to be in there. How did McDonald's even get a piece of our brain where we know about hamburglers? We shouldn't have to know about any of these characters. Donald Trump, the hamburglar. These things are violations of our mind. I mean, if Satan was a human being, don't you think he'd tell everybody to eat McDonald's? Here, eat this shit food with way too much sugar and salt that's way overpriced. Isn't that a nice touch? The 140-seat dining room, Washington equals 140. Who remembers when Pete Carroll got his 140th career all-time win on Washington State's birthday in a big old upset? Here, just for the record, here it is, right from the Reagan Library. The one time he ate at McDonald's. Big Mac. Trip to Alabama. President Reagan stops, eats a Big Mac at McDonald's for lunch. You know what's awesome about this? If you guys are new here, we talk about how important the number 35 is to the football and why 35 Thursday is a huge thing in football, both the NFL and college, year after year. When Trump fed the Clemson team after they beat Alabama, again, Reagan ate it at the Alabama McDonald's, connected to a sports championship. But when he fed him, it was literally the 35th death anniversary of Ray Kroc. It was the 35th death anniversary, and Trump runs on the parallels to Reagan, running on Make America Great Again. And, 35 is his Catholic number, and sure, they don't go down as Catholic presidents, but number 35, JFK, goes down as the first one. Killed on I-35 was JFK. But still, they're on the same puppet strings. Notice Clemson won 44-16, 60 points, right? Clemson Tigers 60. The Jesuits since the 16th century. Ray Kroc 44. They end up feeding him all McDonald's on his death anniversary. You think that's an accident? I don't think that's an accident. Like when I decoded this in real time, and remember what happened. Now I'm forgetting if that was the year Tyshawn died. Clemson had a former player named Tyshawn Dye who died, supposedly drowned, perfectly synced with the championship before their season began. It was either that year or it was the next year. Go back and look. The year they won with Tua in the Big 13 ritual. Alabama's the third. Oh, God. That's the thing, too, about... Come on, Zach. So you got... Now it's real... I can't believe that it took me this long to dawn on me, because I call up Alabama. You see how Alabama has the 158, first of all? This is the only time Ronald Reagan ate at a McDonald's in Alabama. Oh, boy. I almost missed it all. We're going to go through this because this is all important. But yeah, for all the people that come through here and think everything's a coincidence, I just feel like I have to be super redundant. The new temperature on the food handler's permit to cook the burgers 158 degrees. Freemasonry, McDonald's, Burger King hamburgers, all 158 like documentary. The documentary about the McDonald's burgers and how they're not good for you. That man is dead who made that film 158 days after the Pope's birthday. And then we're talking about where this all fits in with Trump, who has the parallels with Reagan, who has the parallels with the San Ysidro massacre. And lo and behold, the only time he ate at the McDonald's was in Alabama, which, again, has the 158. But you see the 31 and the 13. Again, M is the 13th letter, and McDonald's equals 31, right? And the thing about the 50 is Alabama had the 50 as well. McDonald's has the 31, 158, and 50 like Alabama. And see, that's probably why they use the Donald for this as well, because where Alabama and McDonald is 50, Donald is 50. Alabama, McDonald's, and it's Ronald McDonald, right? Donald Trump, him running against Ronald DeSantis. It was Ronald, and we've been talking about this stuff all year, just Ronald versus Donald. I mean, it's, but Donald 50, America 50, 50 states and more territories. Washington has the 50. Jesuits, that's where they set up camp in the area they call Washington, D.C. Jesuits 50. Magic is 50. You know, Disney and Disney, sucks in the minds of the children. Magic's the word there. A lot of children, they need a little more Disney magic and a few more Happy Meals. And next thing you know, they're 50 years old and they're still in this childish mindset. And they think there are no adult responsibilities. Just feed myself at McDonald's and throw on the Netflix. My responsibility is in every 4 years I vote for Trump. Good God. I don't watch online conspiracy theory videos. Yeah, I wish I was tripping. I know some people watch this and think that it's absolutely just nonsense, but again, what I also know is those people are absolutely brain dead. It can be hard to fathom it all in one day in your first video, but yeah, this is what's going on every day. You just stick around. I'll be showing you day after day. That's what's going on. And just about talking about Trump and feeding people McDonald's, after the people of East Palestine, Ohio got poisoned to death, then Trump brought in the McDonald's. And funny enough, he did that on the 53rd day of the year. So I feel like maybe I'm missing something with 53 because the McDonald's guy's dead at age 53. 53 is the 16th prime number. We know the Jesuits since the 16th century. We know I mean, there's things I can say about 53 that I know, like in my first book, I wrote about how important it is, its connection to the feminine, just like how the all-time high score right now in the WNBA is 53 points. It's, if you haven't read my book, that 53 is very connected to the feminine. It has a special connection to football and the shape of the football, which is the Vesica Pisces, which also relates to the feminine. And it relates to religion. The word religion's 53 in a way. Maybe it has something to do with that. But I think I'm missing the 53 point right now with the death of Morgan Spurlock. And perhaps Trump bringing McDonald's to East Palestine on the 53rd day of the year. But yeah, if you guys forgot about the East Palestine or East Palestine, I've heard it said both ways. Ohio train wreck. Sorry if you're from there and you hate when people say it the wrong way. I know how it can be. Like, whenever people say the name Oregon, I'm like, how has it not made it to the East Coast yet that it's just pronounced like gun? They're still going, Oregon. It's like, gone? It's not gone. It's Oregon. We're going to smoke your ass. Say it right. Anyway, if you forgot about this, there was this movie, right, where they filmed the movie and it had to do with this big chemical disaster in the movie there. And then it ends up happening not long after they filmed the movie there. But if you haven't seen the movie, right before the disaster happens, in the seconds before the disaster, it shows this stack of books, Not of This World, The Occult, A History, Year of the Witch, Witches and Witchcraft. And my TV resolution, I couldn't make out the one that's black with the purple writing on it. Maybe if you watch it on your, maybe you can change the contrast on your TV and make out what that other title is. But that's the one I actually wonder about the most because I'm like, I don't think they did that on purpose. They made it hard to see what that book is back there. But if you forgot about this, we were talking about how when it happened, how it was clearly synced with Israel and Palestine. And from Israel's birthday, May 14th, to the day that disaster happened was 266 days. In East Palestine, Ohio is 266. Again, the Jesuit motto, Isus Hominum Salvator, is 266. We're in the time of the first Jesuit Pope, the 266. Last Friday, we were talking about the Cassie getting beaten video being released on the 266th day of her age and how perfectly synced that ritual was with everyone involved. It was 152 days after the Pope's birthday, and Sean Combs is 152, and Sean Combs is also 53 the small way, and the video came out 53 days after the feds raided his house, and the date of the beating was March 5th, which can be written 5-3. So yeah, maybe there's something bigger about 53 right now than I'm recognizing. Last Friday, that was the top thing. Morgan Spurlock, he's not as big of a celebrity as Diddy. And CNN already took his story off the top of the front page today. It was there for a while this morning, but he doesn't command the spot all day like a bigger name celebrity would. But yeah, I did the video earlier and a lot of people responded like, oh, he just died from alcoholism. And I hate when people come on and just like regurgitate what they saw on the news. It's like, oh, great. You watched the news and they said he died from alcoholism. Oh, I'm sure that was just it. He might have been well on his way to dying from alcoholism. I'm not even going to argue that. I don't know anything about this guy's life. I know a lot of people struggle with alcoholism. But, I also, my dad's brother, who's been just like on the bottle and can't get off it since he was in his early 20s, is now in his 60s. My mom's has siblings that are just like her oldest sister's now getting into her later 70s and drinks like a bottle of tequila every 3 days and has another one. And she just keeps on ticking. So there's alcoholism everywhere. And, the difference between Morgan Spurlock, who has the ability to get medical attention and is wealthy, and my mom's sister is that she's not wealthy at all. In all likelihood, you would think that she'd be the one that would die first from alcoholism because she'd been drinking alcohol every day, probably since she was a teenager. And yeah, this stuff in the world of celebrities is perfect ritual and relatively young ages over and over. So when you're watching this and all your comments like, no, he just died from alcoholism, I'm either thinking you're a troll, a bot, or again, I'm going to stop with that phrase short bus rider. I'm not going to say that one anymore because like I said the other day, they've been screwing up with schools and short buses. There's only a few kids that should be allowed to ride on the short bus, and those should be the smart ones at the school because, again, in a population of about 1,000, actually, I didn't want to say this because, you know what? I'm just going to stop what I'm going to say. People are pretty dumb in our society, but they don't have to be that way. If people get the right teachers, their minds can sharpen up. They can do things that they thought they couldn't do or what. A lot of people give up on themselves at a young age because they can't keep up with all the BS in school or they're not motivated to, and then they start feeling down on themselves and they're not smart. And that's why sometimes I'm bad when I rant on videos because I'm not even this way. Yeah, our whole society could do better. And that's really what that's really the point of my channel each day. Pumping out information to get people to think and actually do some research and stop dismissing everything. If you come across my video and provoked by it, you should actually look into the things I'm saying and see if I'm wrong. You're going to find out I'm not. Like, Kobe had his affair in Colorado, the 38 state Super 38 land, and then he died exactly 38 weeks after his wife's birthday, 266 days into her age, perfectly synced with the 266th Pope. The same patterns over and over. Yeah, they say they still haven't solved the mystery of what happened with that train. Man, we had this mystery solved back when the news broke. That's why GematriaEffectNews news needs to be the news station that people check into. And hopefully somebody can do better than GematriaEffectNews. But I know for the last decade, we've been the best news station in the world as long as you can speak English. And even then, it's still probably the best news station because we actually put out what's going on. If everyone knew what we knew, they wouldn't have become guinea pigs for Pfizer. They wouldn't be getting manipulated by all this shit. They would have taken advantage of 5,000 different things by now. Oh, yeah, by the way, just to go back in time, it was 48 days after the Pope's birthday, the train crash. It was while Israel was 74 years old, the Jewish nation. And remember how they started Israel's 74th birthday? They had the mass shooting in the Buffalo neighborhood synced with OJ's 74th birthday. When OJ left town with the Bills up to Orchard Park, Buffalo fell apart. How connected sports are to the rituals and what's going on in society. How backbone sports truly are to all the scripts. From Arturo Sosa's 74th birthday to the wreck was 84 days. We're talking about this mega ritual in 1984. Remember when Netanyahu declared war on Hamas, he waited till Sunday, October 8th, the day leaving 84 days left in the year. Jesuit 84, Zionism, Masonry, United States of America. The list goes on. The Catholic Church is 84. The Jesuit Order is 84. It was 105 days after Netanyahu's birthday. Poop booty gay. It's like I don't want. You can't even talk about anything, man. It sucks. You can't have a sense of humor. You can't say anything that might offend somebody. The LGBTQ people are just like I mean, seriously. I can't even call them crybabies. It would be like a hate speech. They're untouchable. Oh my God, he called us a crybaby. It's like it's a 55-year-old man who identifies as a woman. Got your whole channel taken down. It's like, really? My whole channel had to go because a 55-year-old man that identifies as a woman was offended by my video? Like, what? I don't think this was anywhere in the Constitution. I don't know why the founders are more about the LGBTQ than, or the founders, the new founding fathers, these movies Hollywood's given us. That one was all synced with Trump too. It was even inspired by Trump. But no, I was trying to say that these big tech companies, they're just like, the things that they base their policies on, it's outrageous. It's like, how about just base your policy and look, we're not responsible for what gets uploaded to our platforms. Our platforms are for a place for people to put their content on the internet. And if people think it's bad content, it's horrible content, then they should explain why it's bad and horrible and maybe change that person's perspective. And if you can't, that person's just some kind of psycho that's just going to stay in this lane that's wrong. Some people do that, right? Like we have a psycho that attacks our community every day and tries to dox people. And then he's also uploading videos acting like people are doing that to him when no one's even doing anything. They're just trying to ignore him and he's just attacking everybody. He's a total weirdo. But all you can do for people like that is just ignore them. It's like, okay, you tried to reason with them. You tried to help them out. They don't want to, just ignore them. You don't have to go to their website. That should just be the policy of every big tech company. We're not going to intervene. But again, we know these big tech companies are all Jesuit ran. Hello, Google recognizes their birthday the same day the Jesuits were recognized by Rome, September 27th. Facebook on one hacker lane. Anyway, we know that the reason these things aren't going to happen is because they really do want to use their platforms to steer society. Everything that the cabal is wanting to control and steer. Big tech wants to control and steer. Government wants to control and steer. There's like, these things aren't about freedom. They're just about power and control. And somehow, some way, people continue to ignore that, even though it's so obvious. It has to change. All right. So yeah, that was the deeper dive. If you got here late, feel free to rewind. I think I hit all the main points. I didn't look at this. UN top court orders Israel to halt military operations in Rafah, but think about the day they're doing this, you guys. It's the 145th day of the year, right? Like how Israel's established 14/5 and Catholic equals 145, and there's 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament, and that's the Jewish section. There's probably more to it beyond that. I've just been getting almost like depressed looking at this Israel thing every day. I don't know if there is something to the numbers with Rafa right now and what's going on. I didn't do any kind of dive really into this. I'm just seeing on the 145th day of the year. Let's see, from the day the war began. Remember, the war began on Putin's 71st birthday, 71 days before the Pope's. Catholic is 71 forwards, 145 in reverse. It's 32 weeks and 6 days since the start of the war. You could also say it's the 231st day of the war, and exactly 33 weeks in, the United Nations logo is divided into 33 pieces. So it's exactly a total span of 33 weeks since the start of the war. That starts to make some sense. Big United Nations intervention. And maybe that's it, that Rafah is going to be this big focus for the week ahead, because a week from now will be the 34th weekend. And since they're a span of 33 weeks in, tomorrow will begin the 34th week of the war. It'll be, and again, for people who don't understand that, it's just like when you're born, you begin your first year of life, and then you turn 1, and then you begin your second year of life. If you were born and you were counting by weeks, you'd be like, okay, you're in your first week. All right, you just finished your first week. Now you're beginning your second week. So we begin the 34th week of the war tomorrow. And what time is it in Israel right now anyway? When did that headline break? Here, let me check that story out actually real quick. All right. It definitely was ordered on Friday. Before I even go any further, did you see the other day that Netanyahu said that if the ICC, the International Criminal Court, came to arrest him, it would be just like Bush getting arrested after 9/11, which never happened. And there were ICC things back then. All that stuff is just like a joke. It's just like, what's even the point of this stuff existing? These people are above the law. The only thing that's going to take them down are their own people once they see through how bad we've been sold out. Look at this. Look at the day this happens. CIA Director Bill Burns was meeting. Remember, the CIA was established on the 201st day of the Pope's age. The words in their logo equal 201. Their motto, the work of a nation, the center of intelligence equals 201. The CIA Director Bill Burns was meeting with the top Israeli and Qatari officials in Paris, the home of the Jesuits. I mean, come on, man. At the same time, all this stuff is going down. And remember that the head of the UN right now. God, what's the head of the UN right now? But the head of the UN, his name equals 201. Hold on, United Nations leader. What's this guy's name? Gutierrez or something? Antonio Gutierrez. That's the guy. Antonio Gutierrez. 201. 75 and 87, like Ignatius Loyola equals 75 and 87. Ignatius Loyola also equals 201. Exact same in 3 out of the 4 ciphers. But again, the Superior General's 75 years old right now. The Pope's 87. So yeah, interesting moment for him as well. But yeah, on top of that, they just happened to be in Paris today. God. Sound like a conspiracy theorist. I just like people say that stuff. It's like, the fuck's wrong with you? Do you look into anything? You sound like a fucking retard. What, you believe what it said on the TV again? I mean, God, when I was 5 years old, I saw through that. Can't imagine being an adult and still being fooled by the TV and not seeing how the news makes everything extra scary every day when it's really not that scary. But that said, I mean, there kind of is a scary thing. I don't like to look at it that way, but these people have taken the world to a bad place before. They've taken it to a really bad place for a lot of populations in a lot of different ways. I mean, for certain communities, it's been a really bad place to be because of these agendas. Certain neighborhoods, certain complexions getting targeted, usually darker people. Anyway, and don't forget, the war began on the day leaving 85 days left near October 7th, the same day we invaded Afghanistan. The word Templar equals 85. They waged the Crusades. Bush called it a crusade back then. And then this war begins on the same day, the day leaving 85 days left near. And then again, the United Nations first intervened and called for an immediate ceasefire on the 85th day of the year. They waited until the 85th day to intervene. And now on the 145th day of the year, when we've always talked about how Catholic that is and how Catholic this whole thing is. And let's not forget the United Nations was created in San Francisco, which is very Catholic, named after St. Francis of Assisi, just like Pope Francis. Hold up. Before I go, I mentioned earlier that somebody said today that the Bush family is related to a famous Templar connected to Jerusalem. Hold on. If this is true, I got to get into this research. Well, Google might be. I'll have to do deeper research than that. Sometimes Google will cooperate with you, and sometimes they're making sure certain things don't come up. But there used to be a show on Netflix called Nightfall about the Templars. And just to point this out, you've never heard me say this before, just because I brought up the 85 thing with all of these words equal 85. Templar equals 85. Christ equals 85. Crucify equals 85. Christ crucified on the cross. The Templar cross is a symbol, again, in the Jesuit Order's logo. And right below the cross and the logo there's IHS for Jesus Hominum Salvator, which equals 85. And the main actor in Nightfall, is Tom Cullen. And notice this guy's born in 85, right? And he's also born on 17/7, like 177. The Jesuit order equates to 177 forward, equates to 201 in reverse, numbers that get paired together a lot. But remember, they use the same actor in HBO's retelling of Remember the 5th of November. I think the show's called Gunsmoke, but it's about the gunpowder plot, the Jesuit plot to blow up British Parliament. But in the HBO retelling, they don't make it clear that Guy Fawkes is a Jesuit. They have the same actor, Tom Cullen, play the Jesuit Guy Fawkes, who also plays the lead Templar. That's in the show. He's having an affair with the King of France's wife, and then that's what makes the king want to burn the Templars at the stake. That's the story in the show Nightfall. That's how the fall of the Templars is, Nightfall. Again, the Remember the 5th of November, that's Jesuit. Friday the 13th is Templar. The Friday the 13th superstition comes from the Templars. They were burned at the stake on Friday, October 13th. Is it the year? God, I forget it. Is it the year 1506? I got to go back and double check that part, but I think it's before that. I think I'm way off on my years right now. It's before that. It's out of my mind, though. I can't think of the right one. Anyway, the point is they got this same actor to play this important Jesuit, this important Templar. Hollywood really is very Jesuit. And, of course, HBO is founded by a Jesuit. Let me see something. This is the name that he said earlier, and I remember in the show that the Godfrey is this very important Templar in the show as well. Let me see. This is the name the caller said earlier today. I'm going to look into this if there really is a relation with the Bush. I see something in here. There's something about the name Bush spelled a different way. Templar families. Okay, if anyone else wants to research if this is true or not, I do not know. Somebody just called in with this information. I said I was definitely going to look into it, and I will. But I'll just share it with you right now in case you want to look as well. Is there a relation to the Bush family and actual Templars? Because if there is, that speaks further to the idea of bloodlines and things being kept right where they are. These two Bush presidencies, both members of Skull and Bones. Again, they both went to Yale, Skull and Bones. Yale equals 43. The second Bush was number 43. The first was the 43rd vice president, VP to Reagan. His other son was the 43rd governor of Florida, which also equals 43, where his son got elected president because the Supreme Court stopped the recount. People think they're deciding these elections. They showed you in 2000 that was not the case. People still haven't caught on somehow. Everything's just a conspiracy theory, and they don't want to think about it beyond that. Oh, I don't want to look into that if conspiracy theory to say it was rigged. Well, it might also be true. Oh, there's the right year. That's what it is. October 13th, 1307. That's the year the Templars were burned at the stake. 1307, a bit like 137. There we go. Okay, but yeah, I'm just babbling like always. Thank you. Looks like some people got generous. I appreciate that. Brian A said, "What's up, Zach? I'm in your Patreon. I noticed nobody talked about the Yu Darvish going for his 201st win against the Yankees today. 201 days from Rodon's birthday. What do you think?" I'm definitely going to keep an eye on that because you know why that gets even weirder is just it's New York versus San Diego, and you had Trump speaking in the Bronx yesterday, and a big ritual with the Yankees from the Bronx. And then you had the death of the McDonald's guy. So, maybe there's a relationship there. And of course, the former baseball player for the Dodgers and Padres, Steve Garvey, they've been syncing up this whole baseball season with him, and he's expected to win in the Senate. So you're going to have this baseball player in office for Senator of California. And again, for people who missed it, the first game of the entire MLB season in the preseason was between the Dodgers and Padres, 63 days after Steve Garvey's birthday. Major League Baseball, 63. Padres 63. Their owner just died at 63. And then they opened the season. They had the first official game of the season in Korea a week before everybody else, 89 days after Steve Garvey's birthday, and Los Angeles Dodgers equals 89. And the Dodgers won that first spring training game and that first game of the regular season. And the first spring training game, they won 14-1. It's the Dodgers' 141st season. So yeah, they're doing big rituals with the baseball and Garvey and the politics. And again, like I was saying earlier about where Trump's ongoing rituals with politics and sports and McDonald's, how all this stuff kind of intersects. So I'll keep an eye on that. Very interesting. Thank you, Brian Ace. Since that was your find, I won't share that in the notes. I don't want to jinx it, but good observation. And thank you for the generosity as well. John Mendoza said, Trump is on Time magazine cover and says, if he wins, that phrase in reduction equals 48. Yeah, and if Biden does not finish his term, Trump could become number 48. Yes, he could. And don't forget, Time magazine equals 201. There's been a lot of rituals with Time magazine and Trump. Time magazine. Red, black, and white color theme like the Jesuits. Frank the Truth Tank with another generous one. I appreciate it, Frank. If you guys don't follow Frank the Truth Tank on Facebook, if you're on there, you should. He's always doing great posts. Shout out to Frank the Truth Tank. I don't go on Facebook that much personally, but I know a lot of you guys spend a good amount of time on there, so you should be connecting with Frank the Truth Tank. And we know Frank. He's come out and pounded payment with us all the way from Oklahoma City to New York. Very good dude. Thank you again, Paula the Kitchen Witch. Thank you again, Rick James. Appreciate that very much. And thank you, Almighty GI. They said, thanks for the knowledge, Zach. Don't forget, June 1st is 67 days from Biden's State of the Union. On the 86th day, Christian Wilkins from Clemson loves McDonald's. Huh. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if anything is cut. But in a way, don't you feel like they have to do that debate they set for the day, leaving 187 days left in the year? So I'm thinking, Biden might go past the initial prediction date of him stepping down June 1st, 2024. We thought that the day that he took office is when we said he'll probably leave sometime around June 1st, 2024. Like I said, then it doesn't have to be that date, but I'm still thinking there's a good chance he leaves before the election. And it could come like we thought, but now that they've set that election, I'm going, or not the election, I mean the debate. I'm thinking, unless they're not going to let that debate happen, unless it's just not going to happen. In a way, I want it to happen, though. I want to see what it looks like. I want to see what the debate looks like. So I'm actually cheering against my initial prediction right now. We'll see what happens. Yeah, that was the big thing about June 1st, 1,229 days from Inauguration Day, the 201st prime. That's been a fateful number with his son, Beau Biden, who died 201 days before the Pope's birthday at age 46. Again, his wife and daughter died in 201 rituals in 1972. He was 72 when he lost his son 201 days before the Pope's birthday. And again, Inauguration Day is the 201st day of the nation's age, the 20th day of the first month, which can be written 20/1. And don't forget, the same Jesuit priest who did the funeral for Beau Biden at age 46 did the inauguration for Joe Biden as number 46, Leo Jeremiah O'Donovan, which, again, is 201. Yeah, and again, just since we're talking about Templars, I see this comment out there right now. Exactly right. The Templars were the original bankers. People are saying bankers run everything. Okay, if you're into the bankers run everything narrative, look into what we're talking about. Look into what we're talking about. Remember the perfect banks collapse rituals last spring, 2023? Trump and the House of Cards. All right. But yeah, we will leave it there for now, True Seeker. Again, thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. If you got here late, feel free to rewind. Most of the important stuff was at the beginning. And again, for all the little Swifties out there, if you're a little Swifty, you better learn some Gematria. Because then you might realize you don't want to be a Swifty. Because then what you really start to realize, you can't even choose who your boyfriend is. You start getting an arranged relationship synced with NFL seasons. Then you're watching the nightly news and they're lying to you, making up headlines like conspiracy theorist connecting Taylor Swift to a rigged Super Bowl. That's a lie. She was connected to a rigged Super Bowl. It wasn't conspiracy theorists. It was people who had a clue. And I don't think people who have a clue let people listen to Taylor Swift. There's just so many better records out there. I mean, my God. So anyway, we'll leave it there for now. And until next time, True Seeker.